Well, no, I understand.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
That is a God, what number group that is? Oh, you got out of that one. All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Williamson County Board of Commissioners meeting. It's our regular meeting. It's November the 15th at 10 a.m. Roll call, please.
Jim Marlowe.
Present.
Brent Gentry.
Present.
Tim Atkinson.
Present. At this time, I'd like to ask everyone if they please rise and recite the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we ask for your guidance as we conduct the people's business. We ask for your continued blessing on this great country and this state and this county. These things we ask in your name.
Okay, you guys taking a look at the consent agenda. Are there any questions on the consent agenda minutes?
No.
Okay.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brent Gentry.
Yeah.
Tim Atkinson.
Okay. Moving down, to the highway department, Travis. Resolution for the IMRF and FCI benefits for the county engineer.
so, this is resolution, our annual resolution on my salary. So, first resolution is for, we have a number there.
22-11-15-56. That's for IMRF.
Okay, that's on IMRF benefits. For $30,000. And it is paid from county, multiple tax.
Something we do every year for your benefits.
Yes, sir.
Are there any questions?
No, I think Travis did an excellent job. It's going
Well, we're just talking about it here.
I agree. I think you are.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I think you're doing a great job.
Make a motion to accept resolution 22-11-15-56.
Second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yes.
Brent Gentry. Tim Atkinson.
Okay, the second item is a resolution for the salary for the county engineer.
Okay, so this is resolution number 22-11-15.
57.
What is it?
57.
57. And this is for the county engineer's salary. 50% of this is paid with federal money, and the other half is paid out of MFT. And it is for the amount of $144,282.
Make a motion for resolution 22-11-15-87.
57.
Second.
Marlowe. Brent Gentry. Tim Atkinson.
Real quick, before I sit down, again, say this every year, but I appreciate the opportunity you guys all give me to work for the county. It's been a tough couple years, but it's going to get better.
It is.
It's going to get better. So we're like 99% done with our part of Walker's Bluff, and we've got some really good projects, and we've got some really good projects coming up. So
Awesome.
I just appreciate the opportunity and look forward to the next few years.
I'm glad you're here.
All right, thank you, guys.
You'll stick around, won't you?
Yeah, because we got couple other things.
Yeah. All right, moving on, is there any old business? Old business, the only thing that we need to talk about, and I know I got another email from that Jessica, forgot her last name, from Walker's Bluff, concerning the liquor license out there.
Yeah, so I had called actually and spoke with Stephanie yesterday to find out agenda-wise where we were at with it. I think we can put it on the next agenda and have our ordinance passed at that point in time. So whenever your next meeting is, Jim, we'll have that put together and ready to go. It'll just be a matter of the board deciding on where you want to settle on fees. We've talked about a variety of different structures for that, and so that's really the biggest element.
One thing to keep in mind, you know, I'm leaning toward obviously a greater increase in fee than a regular Class A license.
Correct.
But even with that, and we were talking about making it that the casino will be operating 24/7. So we can either put some parameters on there or keep it at 24/7. But if we do, we need to be aware and discuss what would we do if one of these other places that has gaming approaches say, hey, listen, I'll pay for that license too if I get stay open 24/7.
Well, I mean, I think, yeah, I think the key is to tag the 24/7 element on the casino license and then have the restaurants be more of a standard license. I don't know what the plan is for walkers on whether or not all restaurants will be open 24/7, or I can't imagine that they're going to staff 4 restaurants 24/7. So, look at it from that element. That way the 24/7 approach, it goes to the casino license and doesn't go to all the restaurants, et cetera.
Casino only, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thought. I mean, I'm certainly willing to have you guys give any additional input, but that's how the draft is going at this point.
Okay. All right. Guys, anything else on business?
No.
Moving on, under new business, we have some intergovernmental agreements for animal control between Williamson County and the Village of Cambridge. $3,160.50 annually. The fee on the animal control agreements is based on the village's population. They have a population of 1,505. We charge $2.10 per person. So that's how we come up with our fee. So we need a motion to approve.
We're going to approve it separately. I guess we should approve it separately.
Yeah.
You know, doing it, but
I told you.
He made
oh,
that.
second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brent Gentry. Tim Atkinson.
And we have one between animal control intergovernmental agreement between Williamson County and Carterville for $12,280.80.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brent Gentry. Tim Atkinson.
The next one is the intergovernmental agreement between Williamson County and the city of Rio Springs, and that's worth $1,060.50.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brent Gentry. Tim Atkinson.
The next one is for the agreement between Williamson County and the Village of Polk for $352.80.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brent Gentry. Tim Atkinson.
Next one is with Williamson County and the Village of Spillertown for $380.10.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brent Gentry. Tim Atkinson.
The next one would be an agreement between Williamson County and the Village of Spillertown, $399. Oh, excuse me, Stoneport. Yeah, Stoneport.
Thanks.
Jim Marlowe.
Yes.
Brent Gentry. Tim Atkinson.
Okay, so next one would be for Williamson County and the Village of Pittsburgh, $1,186.50.
Jim Marlowe. Brent Gentry. Tim Atkinson.
Okay, we have a raffle and poker license run application for the American Legion. Red, I assume you've taken a look at this.
I have, and it needs to be approved.
Okay. So, you need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve poker license.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brent Gentry. Tim Atkinson.
The next one is the Regional Office of Education 21 quarterly report, and Louis not here. Normally, I can't really remember.
Yeah, she usually comes and just,
Yeah,
gives us an update.
did you report? So, all right. And the next one is a transfer of surplus property. Brian, you want to tell us about this?
The Williamson County Emergency Management Agency currently operates a my glasses off. A 1996 Chevrolet 3/4 ton pickup that was donated to the county from CIPS. At some point in time during the 2022 year, somebody had stolen the catalytic converters out from underneath. The repair estimate is cost prohibitive. So we are requesting the board's permission to surplus the property and to transfer it to the city of Marion for their use. Their EMA office would like to use the
I got anything to say about it?
No, I have no questions about this.
Motion.
Motion to approve resolution number 22-11-15-63.
Jim Marlowe,
Yeah.
Brent Gentry, Jim Atkinson.
So currently, we're not aware of where the actual title is. We have copies of it. So we're gonna work on tracking down the title for the vehicle. Once the title's been located, then we will secure the transfer. Is that what you were gonna address?
Well, yeah, we'll need in the resolution, we've got the VIN number. We'll need to put some form of the last four or something on it. And then I'll work with Wendy Cunningham as far as if she needs a formal IGA for purposes of the
I'm
transfer.
sorry, I don't know who it is.
She's city attorney for
Okay,
Marion.
thank you.
So we'll get if there's another document that we need to do. But we've already approved it for the transfer through an intergovernmental. So I covered all the bases that the board needs to handle.
When do I make the physical transfer of the property? What's the title?
Well, you won't be able to, we'll have to figure out what we're gonna do with the title.
Okay.
So my guess is you'll have to apply for a lost title, receive, and then there'll have to be a transfer. But then the Secretary of State's office is gonna wanna see the actual transfer paperwork. So
The
that's where the
IGA.
IGA, I think, is been involved. So I'll talk to them.
So if we can't locate the title, then I'll apply for a lost title.
That's my guess, but let's talk to Wendy and find out. If we can do it as one transaction of a lost title and then it gets titled into the city's name, that would be better than doing a lost title and then they turn around and pay another fee or get it registered. So
Understood. So I'm in a holding pattern until I hear from,
now this is fast. I'll talk to Wendy then.
understood. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, okay, under resolutions, we have a sales new owner, Heather J. Hines, PIN number 01-22-434-001.
Motion approved.
Second.
Jim Marlowe,
Yeah.
Brent Gentry,
Yeah.
Jim Atkinson.
We have sales new owner, Julia C. Taylor, PIN number 03-34-431-025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Jim Marlowe,
Yeah.
Brent Gentry, Jim Atkinson.
Okay. We also have, next item is a resolution relating to the participation by elected officials in the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund. We do this every year. In order for us to stay current, would that be the correct way of stating that with IMRF to stay current?
Yeah, we have to. Yes, we need to pass this document.
Okay, we see a motion in the
Motion to approve resolution 22-11-15-60.
Jim Marlowe,
Yeah.
Brent Gentry, Jim Atkinson.
Okay, so we come to the ordinance for green renewable energy facilities. Rick, you want to talk about this?
Alex. Sure, so worked alongside Alex trying to get an ordinance on file for the county on these solar farms. If you remember, we had discussion, decided that we were going to base the fees according to the megawatts, I believe, on the farms. It also requires a reclamation so that we don't end up with the same issue that the coal industry had. The one thing that we needed to have board approval on that we had not discussed was an effective date for this resolution or for this ordinance. The concern is that we've got some individuals that have already began the process building their farms or planning their farms as to what date would be a fair date to now come in and say, hey, an additional cost to your project has been passed by the board. So Alex and I, in discussing, had indicated January 1 of 23 would be a good effective date for this ordinance. And that would give enough lead time for anybody that was planning a project to know what that cost was going to be.
So what about financial assurance when it comes time to?
Same thing with bonding. So there's, under the ordinance, there's some bonding requirements as well.
So that's going to be retroactive to these folks?
Well, the people that have already built, we can't really do anything to them.
Okay.
The fortunate thing is there's not a lot. So we're still ahead of the game. Most counties have not taken this topic on yet. Christian County has, and that's where we had reached out and got their ordinance and modeled a lot of what Williamson County's ordinance looks like off there. I don't know if Alex has anything else to add, but I think that's pretty much where we're at with it.
Sums it up. According to the building permit fee schedule, it looks like less than 2 megawatt fee is $5,000. From 2 to 5 megawatt, $7,500. And anything above 5 megawatt is $10,000 for the fee structure.
And Alex, you indicated it takes 40 acres in order, or what was the?
We've got a couple that are greater than 2, less than 3 megawatts, that are between 15 and 17 acres.
Okay. But I mean, to get to the 5 megawatt plus, you're talking a 40 acre plus tract of land.
Here in 2022, technology evolving, hopefully they can shrink that side of it to make more power.
So the two that are here are grandfathered in, there is,
We got 4
Four.
on this one, but and anybody with shovel turned before January 1st would have.
Now, if they add on to it, so if they're currently sitting at a 2 megawatt and they want to add to another 2, they would then fall under the ordinance for that additional project expansion. And if it combines the existing, then the whole project would be encompassed.
You're good with it? You're good with it? I'm good with it. We just need a
Motion to approve ordinance number 22-11-15-06.
with an effective date.
I've revised it already for the effective date. So the printout does not have the effective date, but yes, with an effective date of January
With an
1st.
effective date of January 1st.
Correct.
That's my motion.
Of 23, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Jim Marlowe, Brent Gentry, Tim Atkinson,
We have a couple water board appointments. We have a Lakeside Water District. West here, due to the expiration of Donald Snyder's term. They're asking for that Donald Snyder be reappointed for another 5-year term, commencing on December 31st, 2022, expiring on December 31st, 2047.
Sorry.
Jim Marlowe,
Okay.
Brent Gentry, Tim Atkinson,
We have one for Devil's Ditch Water District. Mark Warnicki's term has expired, and we have a letter from the Water District Secretary asking that he be reappointed to serve another 5-year term, Missing on today's date due to expire November 1st, 2027.
Okay.
Jim Marlowe,
Yes.
Brent Gentry,
Yes.
Tim Atkinson.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this time, before we open it up to the public, Travis, you have something else we'd like to support with,
This survey.
or the Moss property?
Yes. So, I just got this about an hour ago. So Mr. Moss and his spouse, discovered an issue here with a building that was built partially on dedicated property to the county. So upon review of this and looking at the location of the existing road, Mr.
Are you Mr. Moss?
Yes, Mr. Moss was, went to his neighbor, and the neighbor has agreed to donate the 15-foot to the south, which will leave the county a 50-foot roadway right away. And we, upon your approval, intend to release the dedication of the 15-foot on the north side of the existing roadway. That way, there's basically, it's a tit for tat. He's given us 15 foot, we're giving him 15 foot. It actually fits the roadway configuration a little better. And, I mean, there is one little caveat. At one end, we'll have, there'll be a 35-foot area where there's a little bit of an offset, but honestly, with the location of the existing road and what's here, I don't anticipate any issue. So, we received this today, and I need to get with his land surveyor this afternoon and have him update some stuff on this plat. And upon him doing that, I think I can recommend to you guys to sign off on the dedication.
Okay,
Is that another agenda?
we'll have to put it on another agenda.
We have a Thursday meeting.
But it's at 10.
It's at 10.
Yeah, so.
So it has to be,
Unless we were to reconvene, they'd like it 1 o'clock or something. I don't know.
How long will it take you?
well, it depends on how long it takes John Brandon, the land surveyor.
I know you're kind of pressed for time, right, Mr. Moss?
I mean, I've got basically the proposed changes wrote up here. All I gotta do is scan it to Alex, and I just kind of quickly reviewed it. We just gotta, unless you wanna have Brett look at it.
Well, I think it's what we discussed.
Yeah, it is.
So it's just a matter of getting it as, we need it as an agenda item.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why we can't approve it right now. It's not on these pages because he just received it. So waiting on him. So, do one or two things. Schedule, put it on the next meeting, or we could do it. So like we convene the recess and reconvene.
I won't be able to do it on a recess and reconvene, because your agenda wouldn't, your agenda
That's
follows
true.
the 10 o'clock.
That's true. Okay, so we'll have to have one.
Okay, so this, and I've got a couple of other subdivisions that are coming up.
Okay.
Normally, it's not an issue, but I need to know when you're gonna address them because of the names on the plan. It's after December that you're reconvening to do this.
Well, do we know when Mr. Brandon will be able to get the necessary PIN, legals, et cetera, that we can actually approve?
I don't see these as a big challenge for him.
I understand, but it's, at the same time, it's, next week is Thanksgiving, most places are gone Thursday, Friday, and if they're gonna get out of town early, and so I just don't wanna set a meeting,
I got it.
and then we're back here in the same situation of, we don't have the information to approve, and we're approving it with non-definitive.
And I don't know when the actual transfer of commissioners is gonna happen here, so I need to
First
know.
Monday, the 5th, December
The 5th.
5th.
So if you have the meeting before the 5th, Commissioner Gentry will sign, and if you have it after the 5th, then I'll have to get it from me. So,
I think maybe to give a little peace of mind to Mr. Moss. I don't have a problem with transfer going forward.
No, I don't, if Travis, since Travis is recommended.
So look,
Yeah, we'll recommend.
We're going to do.
we're all good with the head nod
Travis
for
is-
right now for your We just,
You can't take a formal
we just
vote.
can't take a formal vote right
Now,
now.
the big thing is, people buying property, you want to know for sure.
Yeah, well, this is all we can give them right now.
Is that not-
And that's why I asked, so.
Yeah.
But we'll do the formal vote next week. Okay. So, okay, we'll set that up. We have, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week that we can do something.
Okay,
That way we can get it done before Thanksgiving.
all right. So I'll get with John and talk to him about this and tell him that we're going to be ready by Monday. So you guys, when the agenda comes out, and I'll have, and Stephanie, you've got another subdivision, and I've got a third one too, so we'll just get them all at once.
Might want to reach out to John, have him come and talk to Alex about the reduction of his property, if it matters, you know, assess valuation. Okay. All right. Yeah.
I'm late. I had to,
We're right past you, so.
Yeah.
I know, well, I had to be in Massac County this morning as well, so this is my second stop. Take one past me. So basically.
Oh, we've got.
Okay, great. Okay, well,
Unless you like the color copy.
what'd you say?
I said we've got these unless you like the color copy.
Well, yeah, we like color better, more education. Anyways, this is the first quarterly report. Things are going well. We just had an open house for the new facility. And we welcome any of you to come by, check it out anytime you like. We're always open. And yeah. To point out that today is National Hunger Day, and it's also National Homeless Week. So we're doing a food drive at our building this week. So if you have any goods that you would like to donate, you can take them into our office. We're working with the Miriam Ministerial Alliance, so families can have Thanksgiving meal next week. Other than that, we're just continuing running our grants. We just hired a new person, Kenzie Doris. She will be starting December 1st, replacing someone else who just left last week. So anyway, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory on there, unless you have any specific questions.
Okay.
Okay, I do apologize.
Oh,
Couldn't get any faster.
Thank
Thanks for long running already. Okay, thank you.
All right, one other thing, I know you're here, we need to recess just a little bit. Tom Couch is on its way. Let's talk this about insurance. Until he gets here, then we open it up, let's open up the meeting to the public. I know we have some guests here that would like to say something today.
Yeah, well, this last winter, we've been filling on him for as long as Dirt's been around. But anyway, so
Stand on the goal.
I met with these guys at lunch one day, and they got this little, I told them to take a few minutes, they go around talking to boards, just take away what we talked about.
Our proposal is that we want to see the Shawnee National Forest be transitioned into a national park. I think we sent you guys packets of information. Okay, so you've got most of that. What we're doing right now is trying to build public support. We had a Zoom meeting a week or two ago with Representative Boss, Senator Fowler, Representative Windhorst, Representative Jacobs, and then people from Senator Durbin and Senator Duckworth's office were there. We made a proposal to them. And right now, we're just trying to let people know what our project is all about. And if you've seen if the video that we provided in 6 minutes, I think we'll explain it in probably better terms than I'm still getting from right now. But, and when that's finished, we just have a few facts and figures that we have in mind. And basically what we're looking for is the blessing of the board to do this, just to get some, because it takes an act of Congress to do this, and
I was gonna say, I thought.
Yeah, it's an act of Congress, so we're trying to get local support to let our legislators know.
The first thing I'd like to touch on is the significance of the Shawnee, because for a national park to be established, it has to be considered an area that has unique natural geological features on a national scale. And often, as a local, we tend to forget what is really in our own backyard. And it's important that I point out that the Shawnee is unlike any other national forest in the central United States. We have, coming together in this little part of Illinois, there are 5 different physiogeographic regions that collide together that really make the Shawnee's vegetation unique, and as a result, the animals that are found in the Shawnee. So we have, coming from the north, the great glaciation, what's called the Southern Till Plain, meets up right at the northern boundary of the Shawnee National Forest. And from there it hits the Shawnee Hills, which are unglaciated, sandstone-dominated landscape with bluffs and some of the best rock climbing in the world is found in the Shawnee. We have, some of the most beautiful waterfalls, and the largest waterfall in the state of Illinois is Burden Falls. Then, as you travel to the west side of the Shawnee, the sandstone of the Shawnee Hills collides with the limestone of the Ozark Plateau. And so we actually have the Ozarks just creeping into Illinois on the west side. So you've got that really unique factor. Just on the other side of the Illinois Ozarks is the Mississippi, the massive Mississippi floodplain. And then to the south of this whole magical area, you have the Cypress, Tupelo swamp areas, the coastal plain region, where you find these southern swamps. It's so unique, and because of our central geographic location as well, we have so many species coming together. We have one 4.5 square mile area. It's an ecological area on the west side of the forest called LaRue Pine Hills that has almost 1,200 species of plants in it. We have across the forest itself, we have 4 designated by the National Park Service, by the way, national natural landmarks. And again, designated by their unique natural and geological aspects. And they include LaRue Pine Hills, Little Grand Canyon, Bell Smith Springs, and Lusk Creek Canyon, national natural landmarks. So we have 4 of those. And then we have the Garden of the Gods, probably the most photographed shot in view of Illinois that you can find is a picture of Camel Rock overlooking the Garden of the Gods wilderness area. Then you add to the fact that we have a National Historic Trail. The Trail of Tears goes right through the Shawnee National Forest. So we are loaded with all of this incredible diversity. We're loaded with these beautiful scenes. The High Knob is one of the most magnificent views. Go to Alto Pass and see that magnificent view of Bald Knob and Clear Springs Wilderness. I mean, it's really surprising to me that someone hasn't come up with a proposal to take it out of the Department of Ag and put it into becoming a national park and preserve as well. So this is why we're looking to change the designation and shift it from the Department of Agriculture, shift the Shawnee into the Department of Interior Park Service. Now, one benefit, a great benefit from that, it's well documented. Whenever a national park is established, economies just boom around these national parks. And what's so unique about Southern Illinois is we have many little small towns. It's scattered all about that can benefit from this. So it's small towns, rural areas, and all these different businesses that have developed, like wineries, microbreweries, bed and breakfasts, some of the incredible eateries that we have tucked in the hollers of the Shawnee, and I think it'll help develop more such businesses, and I think the ones that are already here will thrive immensely from that.
The way the Shawnee is spread out across the entire region, like a lot of national parks, especially out west, the areas are so remote that there's 1 or 2 small towns around park entrances. And here, places like Golconda, Anna, Vienna, Harrisburg, Marion, Carbondale, Murfreesboro, Olive Branch, Thebes, I mean, there's dozens of communities that will be positively impacted. Typically, there's no hunting in national parks, but you can create carve-outs in the enabling legislation, which is something we're definitely going to have to do because we won't get the public support that we need if we don't have hunting, if hunting is not allowed.
We want to create the new Shawnee National Park and Climate Preserve. Many national parks have preserves associated with them. There are currently 63 national parks in the country, and there's 21 national preserves. And preserves allow for more flexibility. In most national parks, there's not hunting and trapping permitted. Dispersed camping is not permitted in most national parks, but that sort of thing can happen in a preserve. The overwhelming majority of the Shawnee would be a preserve. So the difference is you will have places like Garden of the Gods, Bellsmith Springs, maybe a little Grand Canyon, will be part of the park. But then outside of those recreation areas, most of it is going to be a national preserve. And this one's going to be dedicated to climate. People can still hunt, people can still trap, you can boat around your lakes like you have in the past, but we're not going to mine it and log it.
It's going to take community involvement, and I think we are taking a wide-based approach to trying to appeal to business interests, trying to appeal to tourism interests, trying to appeal to environmentalists. That's one way we can kind of entice some of the politicians too, say, hey, you can be on the bottom floor of getting the first national park designation for Illinois. And I think the climate preserve thing can't be overlooked either. I see a myriad of reasons to do it and very few not to.
The first things I asked them was, is it going to affect hunting or fishing? If it is, I certainly won't be for it. And their answer was no.
Just to build on, I don't know if I'm supposed to stand up. Just to build on the businesses around it. The University of Houston completed a study last year that showed that national park designation would increase employment by 3%. And that increase in employment comes with a 4% increase in wages as well. Another question we get asked a lot is about entry fees. The largest, the most visited national park in the country is the Great Smokies. There's no entry fee there. The National Park Service controls 423 properties. Only 108 of them charge admission. So, and actually the last 3 or 4 national parks that have been added are quite similar to what we have here. They're large swaths of property crisscrossed by state highways. So, entrances, it would be difficult to put an entrance fee, and none of them have entrance fees. So, and a lot of this stuff can be taken care of in the enabling legislation. That's about my aspect of it. But I didn't introduce my colleagues either. I'm going to apologize for that. Sam Stearns here and John Hollis. If you guys have any questions, if you guys.
I do have one question. I know, Brent asked about hunting and fishing and positive on that. What about camping?
Camping is permitted in national parks. What's unique about most national forests is they have what's called dispersed camping. You or I could take our pickup truck, drive it down a Forest Service road, park it, and just walk into the woods and set up a tent. And national preserves allow for that dispersed camping. So it's not a developed campsite, but you can do that. National parks usually regulate where you camp specific, they're usually associated with fees and things like that, but that would not be, we want to protect those things that we have right now that locals are so used to utilizing, hunting, trapping, dispersed camping, those things. We do not want to negatively affect those.
I think the one thing I have to them is, well, I ask them a lot, but for their support, it's, they've showed me some study stuff where economic boom, the region, how these people travel all these different areas. They would say hotels, they get gas, the whole 9 yards. I was shocked by the data that they found. So I guess that's a proven, people just travel all over this stuff.
the thing that I look at for Williamson County specifically, since we're here, is the amount of traffic that travels up and down Interstate 57 every day. I mean, I go through here when I was still working, go on a Friday night and don't even think about trying to get, if you're in a hurry, try to get a place to eat. But just think of, if all the people coming through knew that there was a national park here, I don't think people would be stopping just overnight. They would stay a couple of days, because my wife and I have traveled over 30 national parks around the country, and, there's a lot of people that do that, and it is a great draw. The amount of publicity we would get free, since the pandemic, people are doing a lot more road trips. And Rand McNally atlases apparently are just flying off the shelf now that weren't selling a few years ago. And the current Rand McNally atlas is the Rand McNally Roadmap and National Park Guide. So I think they sold 660,000 of those things last year. And every one of them, if we had the Shawnee National Park and Climate Preserve, every one of those would have a page or two on the Shawnee. So the tourism bureaus are happy about that, the prospect. And like I said, I think it's a win-win.
You've gone around different boards and stuff like that. You're just looking for letters of support.
Yeah,
And then it ends up to Congress and all.
Yeah, right. I mean, we're just trying to prove that, the people in this area think it's a good idea and they see the benefits of it, so that we can give that like I said earlier, it takes an act of the Congress. You can do a national monument is another avenue that you could go to, but that takes just a pen stroke of the president, but the next president can always go in and negate it. So the national park status would be, and the kind of the thing that we're basing this on is we just think it's the next logical step for the Shawnee. The Shawnee National Forest, the Department of Agriculture administers the national forest, and they've gotten us to this point where we have this beautiful resource. But it's not the goal. It's not in the mission statement of the Department of Agriculture, the National Forest, promote tourism. That's where the National Park Service comes in. That's what the National Park Service does very well. They have educational aspect. I mean, we don't have a visitor center, for heaven's sakes, for the Shawnee National Forest. I just got back from the Badlands National Park in South Dakota, and it's roughly, I think, a quarter the size of the Shawnee, and they had 2 visitor centers. And the cottage industries that grow up around it, just tour guides and restaurants, and I think would fit in pretty well with the casino. People would go stay at the casino and then go out in the woods and more of the money that they lost. Yeah, then they go out.
Cry.
Yeah. So again, any other questions that you have for us, we would like your support.
Got a couple of questions, if you want. Sure. So, I'm assuming to get national park status, there'll be a public involvement period in this to accept comments.
Oh, yeah.
Because one of the things I haven't heard mentioned here today is, there are other industries that, the horseback riding, the off-road vehicles, the river trail. Like you, I try to the national parks, and it's a really neat thing, but it also comes with, national parks, it also comes with very distinct, restrictions. And I can, just being part of, a system where I have to involve the public in decisions, you're gonna have a lot of resistance from those groups. And so I was just kind of curious about getting involved with public involvement.
Well, that's where the preserves come in too, because the preserve, like, obviously the things that we have now, the Inspiration Point, LaRue Pine Hills, Bill Smith Springs, I mean, a lot of those restrictions are already in place in those areas. And that's why we want to carve out the enabling legislation, the preserve areas, because those do allow the camping and the hunting and things like that. So, and that's a misconception that we're dealing with right now, but you're absolutely right. That is, we're going to get pushback on that. But I think when people see what can actually happen, that, they'll be fine with it.
I think the fear that will be there is once it's here, then there's a good chance that you start losing control over those kind of carve outs. So just points, not for or against, just points.
I might mention, sir, since you brought up the river to river trail, my name's Sam Stearns. I'm with Friends of Elsman Springs, lifelong resident of Southern Illinois. And I think it's important to point out that the mission of the Department of Agriculture Forest Service is distinctly different from the mission of the Department of Interior National Park Service.
Agreed.
And as you well pointed out, some differences there. I visit places in the Shawnee on a regular basis, and you might be surprised to learn the River to River Trail, which is a tourist draw for Southern Illinois, literally from river to river, is currently being used as a logging road by the Forest Service over by Garden of the Gods. I sort of represent the past history of the Shawnee before we want to look forward to the future. But the mission of the Forest Service is resource extraction, whereas the mission of the Park Service is preservation and promotion of tourism. And the River to River Trail should be an economic engine which does draw people from all over the place. Now, last summer and this year, as you walk along the River to River Trail, just a couple of miles from the Garden of the Gods, there are clear cuts all along the River to River Trail. There are logging trucks using the River to River Trail as a logging road. And we passed that point in history where that's beneficial to us. We now need to be looking at, at things that will protect and preserve the forest, which is the reason people come here. Resource extraction like logging, even drilling and mining on public land, those are very short-term benefits, whereas tourism is a long-term sustainable benefit. And again, saying I represent the past, I've worked underground in the mines here for Ziegler Coal. I've worked on offshore drilling rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. But we're in a different era now. And that's why it's so important to keep in mind that we're proposing not just a national park, but climate preserve. Because for young folks these days, it should be for all of us, but especially for young folks, the climate is a really hot, important issue. And so in a preserve, all the activities like that you mentioned, such as mountain biking, horseback riding, hunting, those sorts of things, those can continue and they should continue. But we do need to break away from our past concern with resource extraction and move on, as Les said, to the next logical step for the Shawnee, which is using that beautiful land, not for clear cutting, but for drawing tourists in for all the other reasons people like to come here. And if anyone would like to see, like what I mentioned about what's going on right now over by Garden of the Gods on the River to River Trail, or if anyone wants to see the beauty spots here in Southern Illinois that people would travel thousands of miles to come see, I'm available to take people out on free tours of both those areas, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I have, let me give you my contact information if I may, for that purpose. If you as individuals or if families, groups you might be affiliated with would have an interest in getting out and seeing these places with your own eyes, because the land speaks far better for itself than any of us can speak for it. But I would love to take you out and let you see these places.
I'll tell you what, the video, there's stuff I didn't even know existed. I just saw it. And I'm sure everybody in the room here probably told the same, I had no idea. So.
Just one thing really briefly, it was kind of coincidental before I came here this morning. The Denver, I think it was the Denver Post,
I'd love to show
just published a report this morning saying the billions of dollars that are poured into the Colorado state coffers due to tourism and stuff. And one of the, it was just, and that was kind of just to build on what Sam said, it was like, this is sustainable because Colorado's had a lot of extractive industries and stuff, and they're all seeing a downturn, but they said this is one thing that we know that we're gonna have in the future is our tourism. So just let that with you.
So just to clarify, I wasn't more into the extraction.
No.
Resources and all that stuff. So the locals here, they have certain things that.
But that is.
Don't it, because I'm eager to get out in the woods.
I just didn't want you to get the wrong idea of what I was talking about.
No, but I mean, it's a legitimate concern, you're right.
And if I could also, again, my name's John Wallace, and one thing that I've found through this whole process, I've done more research on federal agencies and national parks since it started. We all have a perception, myself included, of what a national park should be. And in reality, what a national park becomes is what's up to the people that push the proposal through. You know, it is, you know, the Park Service has to manage these areas the way Congress intended for them to be managed. And I contend that currently, and we tend to be resistant to change and have, you know, it's like, we don't know much about the Park Service, you know, this, you know, we have fear of those things. But what I contend is for years, we've lost touch with the Forest Service. The Forest Service has not been doing a good job of managing our trails. So, you know, the Park Service has three primary priorities: preservation, recreation, and education. And that's it. The Forest Service has mining, logging, you know, all these different things, and our trails suffer. The experience suffers as a result of it. And if you all use the Shawnee, you've seen, you know, Johnson Creek recreation area over by Kincaid Lake used to be, you know, millions of dollars was put into that. It's just a shell of a, you know, it's like no maintenance has gone into it since, you know, I don't know, maybe the 80s. You know, and that's, you know, to me, that place is, there's already the infrastructure's there. With a little maintenance, a little upgrade, it could be quite a good recreation opportunity. So I just wanted to.
I appreciate you guys coming in. And it'd be up to them what they want to do, but I would definitely want to do so.
And again, if anybody has any questions, feel free to contact us. We'll answer any questions. We will probably numb your mind with information. And be happy to take you out and show you some of these places. We really would.
And would your support take the form of a resolution to that effect?
Yeah, well, most of them are doing a resolution for us. Okay.
I was just saying, if you have a copy of one of the resolutions one of the other county boards might have done, could you send it to us?
Yes. City Cardinals pending.
Just to be clear, right now, we presented to Jackson County Board, but we do not have a county board yet. You know, we are in the early stages of this process. And I think we would sure like to get some county local support. But I also think it will serve an important role to be one of the first. I see this happening. All of the and there is opposition that has built up, and those that are opposed to it are anything but they have their own financial interests at heart, you know, and that's really the only basis for it. But I think that being the first to endorse the national park could be beneficial to the county.
And we, like I said, we've spoken to all of the politicians, and basically behind the scenes, there were like 5 politicians, I mean like the state. I mean, it was kind of a wait and see talk through the election and stuff, which I totally understand. So we're supposed to have a Zoom meeting with Senator Duckworth in the next week or two, and then Senator Fowler was instrumental in setting up a meeting with all the other politicians, and that was after the last thing he said in the last one was that after the election we got another one to to see where the next step is. And the first step that we have to get is get either one of our national representatives or senators to approve a feasibility study. That's the first step. The National Park Service will study to see if this area is actually something that they're looking for, which we have every reason to believe it is, because there are only 63, very few are located in the Midwest, none in Illinois. So I think this could be a really big deal for us.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Anything you want to say? Okay. All right, then, let me, put a phone call into Tom Couch. And see,
You think he's coming?
he said he was gonna come, so let me see where he's at.
Someone else that this is.
You guys can stick around or you like?
You guys want to take, let's take a 10 minutes.
10 minutes, make a vote, 10-minute recess.
Not a problem.
Hey, Tom, let's just stand up. If you're still gonna be on right here.
As designed, Joe Malice.
Got a map here. I saw.
Thursday's just gonna be telephone.
Yeah, I'm in Christ going there. Gonna go talk to her and see if she had it, and then I took all that out, so I could see.
Okay, sounds good.
We try to make it.
Like I said, why are you still?
Oh, no kidding.
And,
That's
Hang on.
yeah, it's 30 days, I mean, it's 36 months.
Yeah. Or local.
Every once in a while.
The best of everything. Anything else?
And it just, it's amazing. And one of the. Well, see, I went to school in Harrisburg and. Oh, Joe. There were clips.
Don't spend all your time traveling.
He's actually real supportive.
This trip,
I think he's a little.
I can make it better.
That's where we always went on
I
weekends.
see you. I can see. Horseback
As we all did.
ATVs.
He doesn't have. There it is.
That's your rest. You can go dock to the beach for
It's not legal. That's.
Well,
Now there's.
I love this.
I can't wait to ride one of those.
They all have copies.
We had. I remember my sister. Plastic bags. Those black things are hanging down on the ceiling everywhere. And you bumped up against them.
Did you? Now, I live by a park that is a nature.
On the road.
Some areas are, those roads that they have seasons closures on, things like that.
But some of that, when you're in whole business, you had an open hand. I remember the guy coming home with that orders cold.
Thanks for coming by. I'm glad to even know that.
And then we take cold, it's cold.
Yeah, what's gonna happen?
Over cold.
We don't have to deal with the cleaners.
Oh,
Where
gosh,
the
yeah.
population.
Taking the food out of the driveway and with.
Well,
They're gonna
and
start
Ledford,
they're gonna go to some yards.
in Ledford,
You know,
there was no grass. It was just cleaners. As you over decades of empty mountain yard, nothing else is gonna grow there. You know, and you weren't gonna walk across the river.
Change is different.
no question.
Picking up pieces of the hard ash.
Yep, there's a way to make it.
What's changed?
Get
back, or, I mean, if you won't want it,
No.
I'm happy to leave it with you, but, you know.
It's not about it.
You're welcome.
They don't have sound.
That's what it says to me. I'm just like.
And it did.
And that's release dedication, and they do that.
It's different.
Thing is, because it's, and it's hard for business.
Absolutely.
It's
This is just
We found last time, and that's why we sort of twice, because
all we can do is make things
Gordon was there 40 years.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. It's nice talking to you.
Yes, sir, it's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise.
How long is it gonna take for you
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
as far as I'm
Like I said,
concerned.
I know I've got one just road syndication.
Well, I was
More
just
than
trying
discussion.
just trying to set up down somewhere now, I'm ready to get done.
Yeah.
he was asking me about it, and I was trying to think what you told him.
This,
Steve from
this is
Marion County, I think this would be in.
Said you could,
North Fifty.
Oh, yeah.
If you tell him to me in a text, or we just talked, I know we talked.
The phone system, yeah, we can do all that.
Oh, I agree, I don't have a text, let's talk to me. But I know he talked to me about it, and I explained to him what we had in last year.
Well,
And so,
I mean, we're doing what we can.
because he asked me when he had this one in, and I said, Commissioner,
So did you
first
get the
Monday,
there?
we learned that last year.
What happened to that?
I did not advise
Once
him.
we get that good example of dedication.
Yes.
So he's gonna send
You
me
feel
that.
better?
This time there.
So wasn't interested.
132.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
so then I said,
I
okay,
get it.
well, fine.
That's, I get my things.
He cleared me to come back yesterday and he cleared me to go on, use my last week of vacation.
What about this? What about this?
So
What
I'm
we're
gonna
gonna
work
meetings.
until Monday and I won't use my last week of vacation.
I'm
I'll
gonna
use 2 days next week.
anything that I'm covering the office.
3 days. It makes.
There you go. There you go. That would be nice.
That's okay. By the end of November, I'm out of this.
So this is just to protect them both.
This is the key. This keeps me from going with this. This keeps me from going behind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll get, I'll do that.
You might scratch yours. You know,
I'll send you that.
If I-
So good guy.
So we gonna have you taking care of it. Or you tell me going to Florida. Stop that from happening.
You've got a place to stay, business. This is probably
Now you want to know whether.
We should have, sir, can get us, have the steps.
one other, oh my God. You see anything, but.
I don't think it's
Yeah, you just
I
have
mean,
to,
the
also,
first
like they said, we have to have 48 hours. So once we get it back, it takes 48 hours.
early votes,
Just going to check
not
on
as
this.
much
Yeah,
as
it's-
years ago.
One,
Like to,
Yes.
and we have a good base here.
All right.
They just might.
You'll send me that dedication and I'll talk to John.
Yeah, it's
Go back and find that. Forget about it.
Oh, really? Why not? Yeah. He said, I'm ready.
I don't know about next week yet, but, I did get Paris still on there, but I checked on they actually didn't know which other subdivision was. Well, I don't know. So, they'll have to go on one for next year.
You gonna talk to us or no?
No, I just talked to Jim
I
and I.
had posted these numbers for this Thursday.
Oh, this Thursday.
So the
What's on this
Heritage,
Thursday?
Heritage Hill will be on.
They couldn't have made it.
And
Yeah.
So
I just care about
So all the way from St. Louis.
Say hi.
Right, no, I'm coming back to this.
Just to say hello.
It's all right. It's all
Well, there's a chance they'll be meeting next week.
Yeah, I would be very
There
surprised.
are a couple things that they
might be. Yeah, that's what they'll be.
if they're in, they may not be in it.
So we have meetings.
We may have to do that.
That's fine. I mean, they're planning on meeting next week.
Well, I was, yeah.
Hey, you,
That one, I don't
you get my
think.
insurance? They ripped all that.
I didn't know.
I was in panic mode.
No, I didn't say, yeah, Thursday. You talked over the weekend, right? What time did
Set
you
it for
say?
11.
That's fine. I was in a rush to get,
But they came around.
but I tried to.
15 minutes later, they ripped it all out. They're different.
Oh, it's okay, that one.
He's got a big town.
They're loving that all.
They said it's, they figure it's 5-6 days running,
You know,
and they couldn't salvage it.
couldn't salvage.
I gotta get a toilet, that's I cover my insurance. Plumbing, whether for the disaster or what.
No, not at all.
So I just don't put the
Well,
toilet.
that was so sad.
The back of the base of the toilet.
I was not. You know, we were ill, a lot of my fitting on the bottom of the fitting. If you start drip, you've gone there 2 weeks, we came home. All
Yeah,
day.
from
I
church.
mean, it was all different.
I think I remember that. It's all there.
And
Since we're gonna have to go back to recess. And I just took a 10.
Closest that.
Forgiveness.
Did you turn that recorder on?
I don't.
You know what?
I'm gonna be combining.
Well, they don't have it on camera. It may be, maybe some digital. I'm going to have to let Johnson. So, it has huge areas. I mean, I'm not for. Was it easy? Commissioner form.
So if they decided that their first gonna be a
Be sent
flat rate project.
First Monday?
right the first
No,
month.
your first week.
That what you gave me, it was a statute.
Yeah.
That said-
Did that say,
Look at it.
did that say for township or commission?
I don't think, I don't know what it said, but I always look for commissioner stuff, I don't look for township, but let me look and see what I've got
I
down.
think there's a difference.
I'll look and see what my other paperwork says.
You talking about Thursday, are you okay on Thursday?
I have a meeting with our kitchen designers, so we'll.
That's okay. We'll set up.
But I mean, but,
We gave him peace of mind knowing that we would all sign off.
well, yeah, no, I'm talking about the phone, you'll keep for
The phone, I'll make that work,
If
guys.
that's over, I gotta get up.
I want to get this phone done.
Oh, absolutely.
No, I will adjust what I had scheduled.
Do we even have it?
Did you see the email from the mayor?
I
Requesting?
sent it to you.
Yeah. Did you give them any more information? Okay. I'll take a look at it since we're done. Okay. All right, we're back from a break.
Does he want to do that another day?
What's that?
Or like roll call back from break or not?
Yeah, we had a roll call.
Yeah, we can roll call.
Yeah, roll call please.
Jim Marlowe,
Yeah.
Brent Gentry,
I'm there, I'm present.
Tim Atkinson.
Here,
And it's 11:15. So, Tom, we're gonna meet with Tom later. So we just need to go ahead and close out this meeting.
We'll make a motion to adjourn.
so,
Jim Marlowe,
Yeah.
Brent Gentry,
Yeah.
Tim Atkinson.
Brett Berkey, come on down.
We'll see.